Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands. In this video we are playing Warhammer 40k in a 500 points match that sees Necrons vs Astra Militarum. We had another matchup in mind, but we had a request for the Necrons in the comments that we wanted to please. And we absolutely wanted to try the Astra with the new buff they just got. I'm really curious to see what has changed. Anyway, I'm Simone and I will play the Astra.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will play the Necrons. Before we started, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back! If you are not subscribed yet and want to help us, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is Crossfire. The two armies will have to deploy within these two areas. There are 4 objectives and they are arranged in this way. As secondary objectives, Astra Militarum has chosen Slay the Warlord, Attrition and Engage on all fronts, while the Necrons have Slay the Warlord, First Strike and Purge the Vermin. Both armies start with 3 command points.
Let's move on to the description of the armies. After being awakened by the Space Marines on the planet Hesperia, my Necrons are starting to wake up all over the planet, and they are organizing to destroy the lesser beings they will encounter. It is not long after the awakening when an Astra Militarum regiment is identified nearby. Destroy them all with no mercy. My Necrons belong to the Nephrak dynasty, which gives my units a 6+ invulnerable save and allows them to always add 6 inches to the movement characteristic when they advance. The leader of this army is the Overlord, equipped with Hyperphase Glaive and Tachyon Arrow. As general trait, I chose the Dynasty 1 Skin of Living Gold, which gives a -1 to every hit roll made against the Overlord. The relic I gave him is Veil of Darkness, which allows my Overlord to redeploy in the movement phase anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from the enemy models. Then we have a Royal Warden, equipped with a relic Chaos Blaster. I think he will be in charge of holding one of the objectives. The first core unit of this army is composed of 5 Immortals armed with Gauss Blasters. Next in line, we have 10 Necron Warriors armed with Gauss Slayer. Then we have 3 Scarpack Destroyers. With their weapons, they should be able to tear through the enemy armor with ease. Accompanying this Scarpack is a Canoptech Plasma Sight, which will be used to buff the Destroyers.
The 900th Cadian Regiment was called to fight on the planet Hesperia, where active Necrons units were detected. It appears that an ancient Necron colony has awakened on the planet, and their legions must be eliminated immediately before they become too strong to be stopped. Yes, you heard that right, we are linking Warhammer 40k games to the Kill Team campaign. If you want to follow the story, you can do so by watching the recommended videos. And there is another good news. After Faustus' death, Claudio is taking back command of the troops, and he has been given a Leman Russ all of his own. Claudio has become a tank commander and is the general of the army. The Leman Russ is armed with a battle cannon, 3 heavy bolters and a heavy stabber. As general trait, Claudio has Grand Strategist, which allows me to roll a dice each time I use a command point, and on a 5+, that CP is refounded. With Claudio's promotion, a new company commander has joined the ranks. His name is Lenny. He has the Death Mask of Ollenius as a relic given to him by Claudio, a las pistol and a power sword. A new unit was created by order of the commander, a special weapon squad consisting of 6 models, 3 of which are armed with Meltagun and 3 with Lasgun. As troops, the army is made up of 3 infantry squads. The first is the 005, also called Gunther's Reds. The second unit is the 609, also called the Diehards. The third and final unit is the 362, and it's the squad whose name has been chosen by our community, the Silver Hounds. All 3 units have the Boxcaster and a model armed with a plasma gun. And that's it. Let's see how the Astra will behave on the battlefield after the buff received.
I tried to deploy so as to take control of both objectives outside the deployment zones. The Warden, as I said before, will sit on Objective 1 and hold it. Immortals and Warriors will go towards Objective 2 and they will eliminate every unit that will try to come closer. On the other side of the deployment zone, we have the Scarpacks that are going to secure Objective 3 and slice the humans that will try to contest the objective.
Having to deploy in only 1/4 of the table, I placed 3 infantry squads close together. In this way, Andrea doesn't know if I will try to move towards Objective 2 or 3. Both objectives are reachable with this deployment, and I will wait to see who has the first turn before deciding where to move. Lenny is deployed in a position where he can reach as many units as possible with the orders, while Claudio with the Leman Russ is in the rear in control of Objective 4.
Rolling for initiative. Grey dice for Astra and red dice for Necrons.
I think the first turn will be yours. Too bad.
Yes, I'm first. In the first turn, the Protocol of the Sudden Storm is active. Every Necron unit has 1 inch added to the movement characteristic. The Scarpacks and the Plasma Sight are the first unit to translocate, and with a movement of 15 inches, they reach Objective 3 with ease and hide from the Leman Russ. Then the Warden positions himself to better see the enemy infantry squad, meanwhile the Overlord moves forward to shoot the enemy tank. The Warriors move 7 inches forward and take possession of Objective 2. Meanwhile the Immortals move closer to the enemy infantry squad. The first to shoot in the shooting phase is the Overlord that targets Diliman Ras with the Stagyon Arrow, making one shot at 2+. Hit! With higher strength, he wounds with 3. Not enough, so reroll with a command point. You must be kidding. Aren't you? The Warden tries to shoot the infantry squad that's closest to Objective 2, making 2 shots at 3+. Hitting 1, wound with 3 for the higher strength. Wounded!
Okay, the Silver Hounds lost their first man. I foresee difficult times for this squad.
Next to shoot are the Warriors that focus the closest infantry squad, making 20 shots at 3+. Missing 8 shots, wounding with 3 for the higher strength. Just 8 wounds out of 20. Amazing start.
In this case, I have to split the dice as I want to use the cover. 2 models save at 5+ thanks to the cover. And nothing, they are dead. The other 6 save at 6 being in the open. Only 1. Exactly as I imagined, the Silver Hounds have been decimated. I choose to keep the models that may still be useful to me, the Plasma, the Comms and the Sergeant.
Now the Immortals. They divide their shots, making 4 shots on the Heavy Gunner squad and 6 on the 3 remaining models on the right, starting with them 6 shots at 3. 5 hit. Okay, now wounding with 3+. And of course, just 3.
-2 penetration, so I can save them at 6 thanks to the cover. Only 1. What a bad end for this team. Only the model with the Plasma remains alive. It's the only one in the unit that could still do damage to the Necrons.
The last 4 shots on the Heavy Gunner squad. 4 shots at 3+. Just 2. Wounding with 3. Both hit, and with -2 penetration and no cover, Simone can't save.
In a special weapon squad, only 3 out of 6 models have special weapons. This is because the other 3 are only for slaughter. 2 less lascans. In the moral phase, both of my units that have taken damage must take the test. Andrea has the secondary objective First Strike, so I can't allow him to take victory points that easily. I use the stratagem Insane Bravery for 2 command points by having the unit pass the test automatically. Thanks to the general trait Grand Strategist, I can roll a dice for each command point I used. At 5+, I recover the command point. Okay, nice, I have an extra command point now. The Special Weapon Squad has lost 2 models. Heavy Leadership 6, I need 4 or less to pass the test. Obviously, 5. A model has escaped the battlefield. Combat Attrition Test. And there it is, the one! Another model runs away. The team is left with only 2 soldiers. Not a good start. In my first round, I already find myself with significant losses, but the guards are used to this. My chance at Objective 2 has now faded, so I have to focus on Objective 3. The only Cadian left of the Silver Hounds moves into the other quarter of the table. Thanks to him, I can earn victory points for the secondary objective Engage on all fronts. Gunther's rats approach the pipeline to enter the short range of the lasguns. I'm curious to see what damage they will do with the new rule Hammer of the Emperor. The Diliman Ras moves slightly back to have the Scorpex in sight. The Diehards move towards Objective 3, just in front of the Robo Monsters. The 2 Meltagans move behind the barrier and come close enough to shoot the Necron's leader. Lenny approaches the infantry squad so as not to be isolated. In the shooting phase, the commanders give the orders to the troops. Claudio gives the order pound them to dust to Diliman Ras. The tank can now reroll the number of shots made by the battle cannon. Lenny instead gives the order move, move, move to the Diehards. They cannot fire, but they can advance as if it were the movement phase. Then he gives the order first rank fire, second rank fire to the infantry squad next to him. The Special Weapon Squad fires the 2 Meltagans against the Overlord, making 2 shots at 5+ due to the -1 of the Necron's general trait. Good! F5! I use a command point to reroll dice. Perfect! They both hit! I need 3+ to wound. Ooh, I smell burnt circuits!
4+ invulnerable save. Not even 1. This Overlord is a joke.
Oh boy, I can kill him! Each dice does d6 damage. 6! He's dead!
Obviously, the Overlord is dead. But before removing him, I use the stratagem Resurrection Protocols for 1 command point, which allows me to revive an infantry noble model, the Overlord in this case. At the end of the phase, I roll 8d6. With 4+, he comes back to life with d3 wounds. Then I remove the Overlord from the battlefield and put a marker in his place.
The Diehards advance thanks to Lenny's order and position themselves exactly above Objective 3 and take control of it. Poor guys, it can't be easy to stand firm in front of those 3 beasts armed with huge blades. The model with the plasma targets the Scorpex on the other side of the battlefield.
To give the Scorpex some extra protection, I used the stratagem Whirling Onslaught for 1 common point. Until the end of the phase, every wound roll has a -1 when targeting the Scorpex unit.
I need 4+ to hit them. Hit! With strength 7 and toughness 5, I would wound at 3, but because of Andrea's stratagem, I need a 4. Too bad, failed shot. Now it's up to the Gunther's Rats. The unit fires lasguns and the Surgeon's pistol at the Immortals, while the plasma gun fires at the Scorpex. Let's start with the Immortals. Thanks to the order first rank fire, second rank fire, the unit makes 33 shots at 4+, divided into 2 groups. Every 6 wounds automatically thanks to the new rule Hammer of the Emperor. First group. Great! 5 dice automatically wound, and 7 hit. Second group. 2 6s and 5 normal hits, for a total of 7 automatic wounds and 12 dice to roll at 5+ to wound. 4, which added to the other automatic ones, are 11 total wounds. I thought I could do more honestly. They are less than half.
11 shots to save at 3+. Obviously, 5 wounds passed, meaning that the Immortals are definitely dead.
The plasma needs 4+ against the Scorpex. Nope, the plasma guns aren't doing much. The last to shoot is the Limarras. Claudio is preparing to fight for the first time as a tank commander. All of the tank's weapons are aimed at the Scorpex, trying to help the squad in control of Objective 3. Let's start with the battle cannon, 2d6 shots. Okay, wow, excellent start, 11 shots at 3+. 6 normal hits plus 2 6s that automatically wound. With strength 8 and the -1 of Andrea's stratagem, I wounded 4+. Rerolling the dice in a balance. 3 wounds, plus the 2 automatic ones, 5 total wounds.
Saving 5 wounds at 4+. Just 2.
Each dice is d3 wounds. 5 wounds, not bad. Even with the cannon alone, the Scorpex has suffered a lot of damage. 3 heavy bolters with 9 shots at 3+. A 6 and 5 hit. This time the weapon has strength 5, and with the additional -1, it wounds at 5+. With the automatic one, that's 3 wounds.
This time I save at 3+. Again, just 2 saved.
And finally, the heavy stabber, 3 shots at 3+. 2 hit, I wound at 6 this time. A wound.
Saving at 2+ for the cover. Saved. 2 Scorpex are dead. Rolling for the reanimation protocols, I roll 1 dice for every wound of the models that died. With 5+, they can reanimate. In this case, I need at least 3 5+ to reanimate just 1 model. Only 2. That's not enough, so they remain dead. Now, let's see if the Overlord manages to reanimate. Need 4+. Yes! He's alive! Let's see the d3 wounds remaining. 2. Not bad. Welcome back! This round was a joke. Of course, I made some strategic mistakes, but the dice in this game are making fun of me. Fortunately, Simone has already practically lost an infantry squad, and at this point, he has no way to contest Objective 2. The Scorpex on Objective 3 is capable to take out an infantry squad on his own. If all goes as it should in the next round, Simone should be left with only the Limarras and a few models still alive.
I expected this first round to be a massacre of Cadians, but it went pretty well. I lost most of the special weapon squad and practically an entire infantry squad, but I managed to eliminate the Mortals and 2 Scorpex. Stopping Andrea from earning the victory points of First Strike was important. In addition, saving the last model of the Silver Rounds allowed me to score points for engagement of fronts and attrition, thus reaching 6 victory points. The next turn will be decisive. I have to be able to resist Andrea's round and make the most of the Limarras weapons.
At the beginning of the second round, I earned 10 victory points thanks to the control of Objectives 1 and 2. Then, the ability Living Metal is activated, and my Overlord regenerates 1 wound, reaching 3 wounds total. My Overlord moves closer to the enemy units to avoid failing the charge. As earlier, the Guardian repositions itself to better see the enemies. Meanwhile, the Warriors stretch out to enter short range with the infantry squad behind the pipes. In the shooting phase, I spend 1 common point for the stratagem Relentless Onslaught, making my warriors score an additional hit for each hit roll of 6. Then, the warriors split their shots, making 4 shots on the plasma and 16 on the infantry squad, starting with the 4 shots on the plasma at 3. Wow, awesome roll! Okay, never mind, let's start with the 16 shots on the infantry squad at 3+. I mean, just 8 hits. Because of the 2 6s, I roll 10 wounds at 3 for the highest strength. 8 wounds.
It won't be easy. I have to do 5+ thanks to the cover. Only 1. 7 dead, and once again only Sergeant, Comms and Plasma remain. At this rate, I won't have enough firepower to do damage on my turn.
Now it's up to my Warden, who aims the Heavy Gunner squad and makes 2 shots at 3. Both hit, wounding with 3 for the higher strength. And nothing. Next phase, please. My Scarpack charges the infantry squad on the objective 3.
Good! I was waiting for this moment. I spend a command point for the Overwatch. Let's see if I recover the command point at 5+. Nope. Being short range and with the Surgeon's pistol, the Cadians make 17 shots at 6. Too bad! Only 2. At least they wound automatically.
3+ to save. Both saved.
Then fires the plasma gun with 2 shots at 6. A dice hits and wounds automatically.
Saving with 6. 1 wound through, hits fine. With this new dice, he charges the enemy. The plasma sight does the same and charges the squad to help the Scarpack, reaching the enemy easily. My Overlord charges both the company commander and the 3 models in front of him, reaching them with 6. The warriors need to eliminate that plasma, so they charge him, and with that 4, they barely reach him, but they're in combat. The warriors start the fight phase by piling in onto the plasma to make the maximum attacks possible. Then they make 6 attacks at 3+. Hitting 4. Strength 4 and toughness 3, they wound with 3+. Just 1. Please don't save it.
No penetration, so saving at 5+. Oh no, I use grand strategies to reroll the dice. Worse than before. Okay, I didn't expect he would survive to that immense wave of metal.
The Overlord decides to eliminate the infantry squad first, so he makes 4 attacks at 2+. Hitting all. Strength 7 and toughness 3, he wounds with 2. 4 wounds.
This was pretty predictable. The 3 little Cadians disappear from the battlefield. Lenny witnesses the scene and furiously attacks the Overlord with the Power Sword, making 3 attacks at 4+. Only 1. He wounds at 5. Missed. He is new. He still has to settle down.
The plasma sight activates his ability Infused Madness on the Scarpack. I roll a d6, and with 2+, my destroyer gets +1 strength and attacks, but with a 1, he's destroyed. Rolling the d6. Yeah, predictable. And the last Scarpack leaves the battlefield. Great! Well, the plasma sight makes 1 attack on the infantry squad at 4+. Another one.
Okay, I really wasn't expecting that. Nice twist. The diehards pile in on the little plasma sight, then try to destroy it by making 9 attacks at 4+. Only 3. Unfortunately, humans only have strength 3, so they wound at 5. Missed. Sometimes happens.
Oh, don't worry. Since there's no more Scarpack, the plasma sight is removed from the battlefield thanks to the ability Recall Protocol.
The surprise that the Scarpack gave me has definitely changed the balance of the game. At the start of the round, I earn 10 victory points for the 2 objectives I control, reaching 16 victory points. The diehards move forward to have a part of the Warden in sight and be able to shoot him, but still remain in control of the objective. Lenny feels the need to get away from the Overlord quickly so as not to end up like the little Cadians. The 2 soldiers with the Meltagun move behind the tower to hide from the view of the warriors. At the beginning of the phase, Claudio gives the order pound them to dust to the Limarras to allow it to reroll the number of shots of the battle cannon. Lenny instead gives the order take aim to the special weapon squad. The Meltaguns open fire on the Overlord with 2 shots at 5+ for the -1 of the enemy's general trait. 1 hit. I use a command point to reroll a dice. Ah, close! Just 1. With strength 8 and toughness 5, he wounds at 3. Yep. Here we go!
4+ invulnerable save. He's safe.
I try to recover the command point at 5+. Nope. The diehards target the Warden behind the rock and make 8 shots at 4+. 2 6s that automatically wound and 2 normal hits. 5+ to wound? Ah, nothing. Only the 2 automatic wounds.
Saving at 2+ thanks to the cover. The 1 is always there.
The plasma gun needs a 4. 6! It wounds automatically.
Saving with 5+. That is not enough. 2 wounds remaining to the Warden.
Claudio points all the weapons of the Limarras against the leader of the Necrons. Let's start with the battle cannon. 2d6 shots. Definitely not enough. I can reroll thanks to the order of Claudio. 5 is better than 3. 5 hits at 4+. Not bad. 2 6s and a normal hit. 3+ to wound. 3 wounds total.
Once again, 4+ invulnerable save. Not even close. And he's dead. Again. At this point, I have no way of eliminating the Limaras and contesting one of Simone's objectives, so the game ends here, with the Astra Militarum winning. I don't know what happened to my dice in this game. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to do anything due to the 1 and 2 I was constantly rolling. If I had managed to damage the Limaras with the Overlord's arrow, it would have simplified the game a lot. Warriors and Immortals have missed way too many shots, far too many. My Necrons were probably still sleepy. We'll see in the next game how they will perform if the dice don't go against me.
I know the game ended in the second round and it might seem like a decisive victory, but trust me, with better dice rolls Andrea could have won. I would have expected a charge in the first round of the Scorpex on my infantry. Instead, Andrea preferred to get the objective, leaving me the freedom to move with my units. The new Astra rule is interesting. It certainly helps infantry squads adding more damage that, let's be real, was almost non-existent before. I'm happy with the buff they got. They really needed it. And with this, we conclude. If you like our content and want to help us grow the channel, we have an account on the platform Buy Me a Coffee where you can support us with donations. Any help you can give us to improve the channel is welcome. We are counting on you. The link is in the description.
And if you have come this far, write the word promoted in the comments to let us know. You are the best. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!